However this goes, whether she wins or loses, she's never coming back from this. Amber Heard is sticking for life, okay? Hello friends and people on the internet that watch me. Hi and welcome back to another video on my channel. I don't want to be one of those people who was like, I knew it, but I am going to be one of those people. From when Amber Heard came out with her story of Johnny Depp her, I was like, hell no, like this is just not it. This woman screams phony and fake to me, and she is clearly batshit crazy. The last few weeks have been a roller coaster for anyone who's been following the trial between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and him claiming defamation and trying to recoup about $50 million, and then she's countersuing for $100 million. As disturbing as it is, it's also quite entertaining, also quite funny, also just a bit sad, and you know, it's a whole mix of emotions going on in that courtroom. Part of me wants to be a fly on the wall in that courtroom and just like, you know, when you can feel the tension. And yeah, from the awful acting, the exaggerations, the lying, I mean, whatever this is.
My dog stepped on a bee.
Like, girl, what? It's been a bit of a guilty pleasure. I say this as if it's like a show. It kind of is at this point. Now, I know what you must be thinking. You're thinking, I'm Team Johnny. Well, surprise, surprise, no I'm not. I am Team no one. I don't particularly care about either of these people. I think Amber is nuts. However this goes, whether she wins or loses, she's never coming back from this. Amber Heard is sticking for life, okay? She needs to go ahead and log off because, yeah. Johnny himself was no angel. He did what most incredibly rich middle-aged men did, and he left his long-term partner and mother of his children for a younger, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, feisty young actress named Amber Heard. He leveled up, supposedly. And he married her within like, I think like a year or two of dating. I mean, they clearly didn't know each other. They clearly are very troubled people. I mean, this whole trial, you know, people screaming Team Amber, Team Johnny, like, they are celebrities. They're just regular people with a lot of money. Really, celebrities are just overhyped, glorified people who are actually more of a mess than regular people are. If we're being honest, they just have the money to cover it up better. They both struggled with alcohol and drugs. Admittedly, himself, Johnny, has said that he struggled a lot with substance abuse and alcoholism. Life's just not very great for him at the moment. And besides all this, there is a deeper, more serious issue to this whole story, and that is the issue of male victims of domestic or an intimate partner. I'm going to be referring to these things as DV and IPV. That is the real importance of this trial and the importance of it being public. I really don't want to focus too much about them. They are really not what's important, it's what it represents. So I'm really glad that Johnny Depp pushed for this trial to become public. I get why he did it. I get why, you know, the last trial he had, I think it was in the UK, he lost that trial against, I think it was The Sun or the Daily Mail, I don't know, one of them like trashy tabloids, where he was referred to as a wife beater. He lost that. I believe he just wants this to be public. From my interpretation, is so that the world can see the evidence and come up to their own conclusions with the evidence that's presented and how crazy ass Amber Heard is coming across. Like, at this point, I don't think anyone's on her side. People coming out of the woodworks who probably never even watched a Johnny Depp film are now screaming, I love Johnny, Team Johnny. So it's working. I absolutely believe that Amber was in the relationship. I absolutely believe that she bullied him, she beat him, she was a manipulator. Of course, no one is really going to tell 100% of the truth, but unfortunately she's lied so much that even the parts of her testimony that do happen to be true, people aren't just going to listen to it. So yeah, I mean, what can you do then? By the time I release this video, the verdict might be out, so I might put in an update clip. If not, then we'll find out at the same time. I want to be sensitive with this issue because it affects so many people, particularly women. Most victims or survivors of this are women, and I don't think that should ever be lost in the conversation. Especially in less developed countries, there is a lot of DV and IPV happening against women with no consequences, no sort of action against it. I mean, even in this country, it's very hard to get a case against your as much help and support as there is. A lot of these women do fly under the radar, along with children, vulnerable people. I don't want it to be that I'm forgetting them in this discussion. I just think there's another side to this that a lot of people don't think about, or a lot of people don't give any sort of serious thought to. A couple of statistics. So according to the National Office of Statistics for England and Wales, 27% of victims of IPV and DV are actually men. The National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, I believe this is a US-based organisation, they say that 1 out of 9 men are victims of IPV and DV. Now that might seem like a small amount, but there's actually a lot more than most people would realize. I think generally most people don't see men as victims when it comes to a heterosexual relationship. The man, stereotypically, statistically, is bigger, stronger, more powerful, and is therefore perceived to be able to overpower or, you know, whatever, do whatever he can to protect himself physically. But, you know, there's this thing where, you know, some men don't hit back. You know, some men don't want to hit women, some men are just not violent. Anyone consider that? I mean, even Amber Heard has said in the recordings to Johnny that, you know, if he was to go out and tell the world that he's been a that people wouldn't believe him. Female are aware of this and they use that to their own strengths, which is just absolutely insane. I mean, like, the world is just mad. Everyone is mad. Some women are very violent, some women are absolutely crazy. I really think from this trial, what should come from this is that we should really take all victims, all survivors seriously. Do not conflate this with believe all women. That is not what I'm saying, okay? Women lie, men lie, people lie. That's just a fact of life. What I'm saying is actual real victim survivors should be taken seriously, whether they are men and anyone who you might not suspect of being capable of being a victim or a survivor. It doesn't matter what the person looks like. They should be taken seriously and they should be entitled to help. No one should be laying hands on anyone, okay? We hear all the time about female victims of DV and IPV, as we should, and the abusers are usually blacklisted, as they should be, but unfortunately we can't really say the same vice versa. Believe it or not, these people, some of these people are very much still beloved, very much still working, very much still rolling in the cash. One of these women that comes to mind is Emma Roberts. Emma Roberts, I actually do like a lot of things that she's in. She was in a relationship with Evan Peters from 2012 to 2019, and funny enough, they've had like a long work sort of relationship as well. They've featured in a lot of projects together, namely American Horror Story, which I absolutely love. And I actually remember when this report came out, it wasn't really that big of a deal for some reason. In 2013, Emma Roberts was actually arrested for DV, for assaulting Evan Peters. It was reported that she left him with a bloody nose and a bite mark. I mean, ew. So she was picked up by the police, and he, unfortunately, like a lot of victims of DV, did not want her to go to prison, so he dropped all charges. He did not want her to get in trouble, and the situation was left as it was. A lot of people say the relationship was very tumultuous, that they were not good for each other, that she was very overbearing and just, you know, a lot. She was a bit of a monster. But after that, once they broke up, she, within a year of them splitting, she got married and had a kid. And then left him with all that trauma. And she's still working and people still love her. Now, this next woman isn't so beloved. In fact, I think most people find her annoying, but I think it's still worth mentioning. Is Blac Chyna. Blac Chyna is known in quite a few capacities. She is the baby mum of Tyga. They have a son together. Baby mum and ex-fiance of Robert Kardashian. She was also formerly best friend of Kim Kardashian. She's very involved in that side of the family. That is just kind of weird how they're all like sort of not related, but it's just weird how like all the relationships are. It's very intermixed and kind of gross. Anyway, her and Rob were together for about a year or two. They have a daughter together, Dream Kardashian. She recently tried to sue the Kardashians. That didn't go so well for her. She's just been taking L's recently. So Rob and Chyna were together for just a short amount of time, but in that time she was very violent to Rob Kardashian, as he claims. She supposedly tried to strangle him with the cord of an iPhone charger. She held him at gunpoint, even though she says she was joking and it wasn't a loaded gun. I don't care. Like, if my partner's pointing a gun at me, loaded or unloaded, are you crazy? Do you think I'm sticking around? That person's clearly unhinged. Who does that? You're very sick. She also beat him up, beat his face with her fists, and on top of all that, she's well known to have abused drugs and alcohol. She threw a chair at his car, destroyed all sorts of property of his and Kylie's, as they were living in Kylie's house at the time when they were together. She repeatedly threatened to kill him, ripped some of his shirts on his body. So like, she was just insane. Thankfully, she does not have full custody of these children, thank God. And these recent reality shows that she's had, I mean, one with her mum, has really not shown her in the best light. It just shows her as being very erratic, very crazy. The Rob and Chyna show showed her to be insane as well.
You still texting bitches, yes or no?
So like, I definitely believe that she was to Rob, and Rob at the time was going through a lot. She was there when no one else really was there for him. You know, he has problems with his weight, problems with depression. He was a bit of a hermit at the time, and she took him out of his shell, took advantage, took his money, had a baby. There we go. And now suing the family for how many millions of dollars, and she gets to just enjoy the lavish life of doing whatever she does. I don't know what she does for a living. I was quite surprised by this, but Hillary Clinton apparently is a prolific abuser. She has been abusing poor Bill for years and years. Yes, he did cheat on her. Yes, he embarrassed her on all sorts of levels. But did he deserve to get beat up? I don't think so. So a few years ago, a book was actually published by a man called Roger Stone, political strategist and something like that, some kind of consultant in politics. And he was around them very closely, very intimately while Bill was in office. And he had a few things to say, honey. He was spilling all the tea. He alleges that she would fling things at Bill, like books, keys, whatever she could get her hands on, a lamp, and would regularly leave him covered in scratches, in cuts, in bruises, which would have to be covered, or other staff would have to make excuses like, you know, oh, he slipped and cut his face with his razor when he was shaving, when it was really a cut that is obviously not from shaving, but you know, no one really said anything. They apparently just accepted Hillary as being very fiery and just not a pleasant person to be around. He is not the only person to come out with these allegations. There was also the White House press secretary D.D. Myers. She also alleges that Hillary Clinton had a violent temper and would scream all sorts of profanities, not just at Bill, but also the staff, the Secret Service as well. And we all know the 1999 Monica Lewinsky scandal. In that time, things got a whole lot worse for Bill. I mean, she went crazy. She beat his ass. She slapped him up and left apparently welts on his face from how hard that she slapped him. There was also an incident once where her father was on his deathbed. She went over to fly and be with him. But then she heard back in the White House, Bill had Barbara Streisand round for the evening. She went into a jealous rage, flew back and went to beat him. I mean, what do you say? What do you say to that? As well as shouting profanities and beating Bill, she also destroyed a lot of property. She apparently ripped doors off of cupboards. She smashed glasses, smashed plates. So like, clearly she just had a real rage issue, a lot of anger issues. But even moving past that, she was able to run for president. He's also held very high up positions in government, despite her being a DV. It's probably partly with her being a woman, probably partly with her being so high up in the government. Who knows? You know, all sorts of presidents and first ladies or whatever all been all sorts of dirtbags before. But really the main message I want to send home is that there are male victims of DV and they should be taken seriously. I think the precedent that this trial is setting for male victims of DV is very important. It's a very historical trial, and I don't think it should be just, you know, reduced to just, oh, Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. It's above them. It's more than them. I hope that Johnny Depp wins this case for the defamation. I mean, she absolutely did ruin his career. Just from what I could see and from what I was watching, I mean, yeah, she absolutely did ruin his career. So I hope he wins. Also, just because I don't like Amber Heard. Like, she just comes across as a fake and a phony, and I don't think anyone's believing her lies. She's just a weirdo. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Turn your notification bells on so you know when I post more videos. I will be posting more regularly, fingers crossed. And let me know your thoughts in the comments below. So I'll check you guys out later.